Human Resources is the brand new Netflix original series, which is a spin-off of the still ongoing 5-season plus Netflix original show, Big Mouth. Back from that original show, Big Mouth, voicing the characters, Kiki Palmer, David Thwills, Brandon Kyle Goodman, Maya Rudolph, of course, Nick Kroll, and a brand new cast led by Aidy Bryant, Randall Park, Lupita Nyong'o, Jermaine Clement, Janelle Monáe, Henry Winkler, Bobby Cannavale, and Hugh Jackman. And this is a spin-off show, so you do have to see some of these characters are back from the newest season, some are just overall in the show. But this spin-off goes to the hormone monsters, the love bugs, the shame wizards, and where their headquarters are. We saw that at the end of the last season of Big Mouth, and now we get a whole show about it. The show is mainly led by Aidy Bryant's Emmy, who is a new up-and-coming love bug who tackles a woman who her person that she's tasked with is a unhappy, basically pregnant woman, unhappy with her pregnancy, unhappy with her marriage, and how she has to fix that. Randall Park plays Pete, the rock figure right here. He's the common sense kind of robot character. You still have the shame wizards, the love bugs, and the hormone monsters all into one. The show this season is 10 episodes long with 27-minute episodes. ASTV matured. Welcome back to brand new Netflix review here at Max Talks Movies. We're talking human resources, Big Mouth fans, so please get in the comment section down below. Let me know your thoughts on the show. If you've seen the show, tell me, would you actually like a season 2 of the spin-off show? Would you like to see other types of Big Mouth, or are you just ready to get to the new season of Big Mouth coming later this year? Which I don't blame you as well. Please also, if you have not seen the show, tell me, first of all, are you going to watch the show before you watch Big Mouth? Were you planning on binging Big Mouth into this? Let me know all those thoughts in the comment section down below. Like the video, guys, the thumbs up button, and please subscribe, ring the bell, movie reviews, TV show reviews, streaming platform reviews, and movie rankings. So let's get into this review. So as I said, I have reviewed, I believe, season 4 and 5 of Big Mouth here on the channel. As season 6 is coming later this year. And you can tell it's a big show on Netflix because they got a complete spin-off show here in Human Resources. Now, I really wasn't that excited. I saw the first trailer. I was kind of like, this kind of looks whatever. I was kind of nervous about the balance of the returning characters and the new characters. And we'll get into it, but I will not give spoilers on this show. Now, normally with TV shows that have multiple seasons, I do, if, for example, if I talk about a season 2 of a show, I normally talk spoilers because then I'll be spoiling season 1. But because this is even though it's a spin-off of Big Mouth, I will give some minor spoiler. There really aren't any spoilers to have here, but some minor, I guess, spoilers just in case for the first 5 seasons of Big Mouth. But no spoilers for this show. So if you have not seen Human Resources, don't worry, I'm not going to spoil anything about this show. Let's get into it. So overall, I had, again, just like the show Big Mouth, even though I don't think this hits the greatness that Big Mouth was early on, just because of its storytelling methods in this show. But I do believe that this is a really fun time on Netflix. If you like Big Mouth, I think you have to watch this show because, again, this is not going to grab new Big Mouth viewers. I think it's even more raunchy just because this is just the hormone monsters. Just the hormone monsters, just the love bugs, just the shame wizards. Yes, there are humans. There are, of course, humans throughout the entire show. Of course, the main one, there's a main woman who is Becca, played by Ali Wong, who is the main woman who Aidy Bryant's character is looking after. And there are human characters throughout the show, but the main focus of the shows are the actual creatures in the Human Resources headquarters, which I found a bit nerve-wracking heading in, but overall, I had a great time. I was laughing every single episode. There's a lot of characters who were introduced in season 5 or 4 that I wasn't a huge fan of, that I completely jumped on board with in this season, with this show. It's always great, and now you can tell Maury and the 2 characters from day one, Maury and Connie, voiced by Maya Rudolph and Nick Kroll, are back. They're not the main, as I said, they're not the main characters. They're really sprinkled in throughout. They are not just more than sprinkled. They're in the episodes. Looking at some standouts for me, obviously Maury and Connie are always funny. Nick Kroll's hormone monster voice is pretty great. I really loved also, just like in season 5, Brian Kyle Goodman's character, Walter. He's another one of the 3 love bugs who has a really emotional story in episode 8, with this old woman that was probably the most emotional I think Big Mouth's been in its entire run. Really beautiful episode. And I was really happy that that storyline was kind of the A storyline of that episode. Brandon Kyle Goodman also has writing credits on is a writing consultant and wrote a couple of the episodes himself this season. Kiki Palmer, who I was not a huge fan of overall on the show, she is great in this season as Rochelle, who she's best friends with Emmy, but that friendship kind of breaks apart when Emmy's former love interest, who is Dante, voiced by Hugh Jackman, falls in love with Rochelle. Rochelle and Emmy are kind of butting heads for most of the show. Huge standout for Kiki Palmer. And also the funniest part of the whole show for me was Dante, played by Hugh Jackman. Great to see Hugh Jackman. He did voice a character, I don't want to say specific, a inappropriate character in this past season of Big Mouth, but he plays a different character here in Human Resources. He plays like this angel-like character. Dante, the addiction angel, I think is what his name is. And he is hilarious. Steals every scene that he is in. He's not in every episode, but when he's in the show, he is really funny. I was dying laughing at most of the things he was saying. Hugh Jackman's delivery and the actual character were great. Great new addition as well. Randall Park, who was not in Big Mouth at all, making his debut as Pete. Love this character. Pete the Logic Rock just is like common sense kind of character. I loved him. His humor was great. Obviously I'm a huge Randall Park fan, but seeing him in this show, and he also has a really, really interesting dynamic with Kiki Palmer's character, Rochelle, because he kind of likes her and they kind of like each other, but she's kind of going with Dante. They have Kiki Palmer also has a really funny subplot with this guy who she's working with. He's a human and he's got this huge Phoenix Suns fan, which is so hilarious for me who loves the NBA. Seeing the storyline work out in the show is great. David Phillips is good as always as the Shane Wizard. You learn a little bit more about his past, why he's not liked by everyone else. Rosie Perez as the Goblin was, again, funny as well. And overall, all the characters for the most part, I guess Emmy for me was the most disappointing of the main characters. I'll get to that in just a second. But this whole group of characters together, there's no one I didn't like in the show. It's a great bunch of characters that I was kind of worried about because, again, Nick and Andrew, the main two characters of Big Mouth, are not in the show, are not the main characters in the show. So the fact that they're letting it on to these people, I thought really interesting. Also, Bobby Cannavale plays a really raunchy hormone monster called Gavin, also scene-stealing character. He's kind of like, if you watch Big Mouth, you know he's kind of like Jay, but for the hormone monster. So that for me is a win because Jay is my favorite character. So seeing that type of character as a hormone monster was very funny. As I said, it's very raunchy, it's very creative, and I actually found the human storylines to be one of the stronger elements of the show. As I said, Kiki Palmer's person is really great. Brian Kyle Goodman's person is great. And even Emmy's person is really great. And I think they all get to kind of show off all of the different human hormone monster or love bug relationships I loved in this season of the show. And I found them to be really, just like the actual show Big Mouth, very relatable. So I actually did like that a lot. But let's move into some of my negatives with the show. And that is that I think the writing at times felt like it wants Emmy, played by A.D. Bryant, to be the main character. I mean, there's some episodes where she's very much in the third story on the book in that episode. So I wish that if they really wanted Emmy to be the main character, to kind of stick by that. The show very much bounces around character to character all the time. And sometimes a couple of these storylines just don't match together in the same episode. So at times the show can feel kind of frantic and kind of all over the place. Particular episodes, especially episodes where Emmy is clearly not the main focus. There's a couple episodes where Emmy is like in a really subpar plot line, but they need to get her in the episode because she's technically the lead character. So I wish that if they were going to go with her, the main character, to kind of stand by that. As I said, Brandon Kyle Goodman's Walter has basically his own episode to himself. Kiki Palmer has an episode to herself. Even Sonia has an episode to herself. So that, again, that was also a really interesting, these are all very interesting stories, but I wish if they established the main character it's tough to watch her in a couple episodes be in very subpar plot lines. And they just feel like they need her in the show because she is the main character. As I said, it does not reach the greatness of Big Mouth. I do think some of the songs just aren't as good as the songs in Big Mouth. It's even though I love having Maury and Connie in the show, it feels like they were here for publicity purposes, for people who were nervous about the show to be like, oh, they're in the show. Well, these are our favorite characters. Let's give it a try type of thing. They don't really have a major storyline with any of the main characters in the show. They're kind of just there doing their own thing for the most part. And I said, even though there's some really actually the episode 8 and 9 are really emotional episodes. It's tough to go back from not taking it seriously from 1 to 7. Yes, there's a lot of jokes in episodes 8 and 9, but they're very emotional endings, which I loved, but at times it doesn't actually fit the tone of the show. So I thought that the finale episode coming off those 2 great episodes kind of was a letdown. And I wish it could have ended action on one of those last 2 episodes. But overall, I had a great time watching Human Resources on Netflix. If you've seen Big Mouth, you should definitely see Human Resources. I think that if you a lot of these characters are going to be popping up in Big Mouth season 6 coming out later this year. So please like this video, subscribe, ring the bell, comment. I'm going to give Human Resources on Netflix a 3.5 out of 5. I'm going to go 75% for Human Resources. I had a really good time with this show on Netflix. So please, thanks for watching this video. More reviews are coming, including Raised by Wolves, my box office breakdown show, Moon Knight, and Morbius. My review of The Lost City was yesterday. And thank you guys so much.